Hello, welcome again to the lecture series on automobile engineering. In this session, let us discuss about another very important alignment angle, wheel alignment angle, that is caster. So let us understand what caster means. You just consider this wheel. Let me draw a vertical line through this. Then this is the steering. So I'll draw another line through this. Through this. Then here, whatever angle I get, that angle I call it as caster angle. Caster angle. So you can find this in the cartwheel. You just observe this, all these places. You can draw a vertical line like this, then like this. So in the motorbike also you can observe that. Let me draw a vertical line here through the center of the wheel, and then this is about which its steering happens. This I call it as caster. Okay, so caster is the forward or rearward tilt of the steering axis in reference to a vertical line as viewed from the side of the vehicle. It is a side view. In the front view, we can observe camber. Top view, we can observe toe. In the side view, we can observe the caster angle. Steering axis is defined as the line drawn through the upper and lower steering pivot points. Okay. So now this is what we call it as a caster. You can find caster in all the steering wheels, like, whether it is a cart or motorbike or car. Zero center, there is something like this. This is what I call it as, you see here, the vertical line as well as the steering line, they're coinciding and we are getting 0 degrees. It's perfectly vertical. In this case, caster angle is 0. There is some, here we have some caster angle. Let us see the other one. This angle we call it as a positive caster. Here it is a neutral caster or 0 caster. This is the negative caster. Please remember that you are moving in this direction. This is tilted forward. This is negative caster. This is tilted backward. This is positive caster. And here it is 0. Then it is neutral caster. So please know that this line when I produce, it is ahead of the center line. Here it is behind of the center line. Okay, this is negative caster, this is positive caster. Positive caster is present when the upper suspension pivot point is beyond the lower pivot point as viewed from the side. Negative caster is present when the upper suspension pivot point is ahead of the lower pivot point, ball joint, as viewed from the side. Caster is measured in degrees of or fraction of degrees. Degrees or it is. This is the spelling mistake, right? Or fraction of degrees, like this. Anyway, so you understood what is caster, what is positive caster, neutral caster, and negative caster. Look at the car. This is what is talking about. This is the wheel, this is the suspension, you have suspended the wheel, and there is then the wheel is steered, the front wheels are steered, and this is what the steering axis is. So this is what we call it as the positive caster. Here it is negative caster. Okay. So most of the times in the car you can observe only the positive caster, not the negative caster. Some points about caster. Caster is a stability angle. Caster is a stability angle. What it means, I will clarify. If caster is excessively positive, vehicle steering will be very stable. Will tend to be straight with little steering wheel correction needed and help with steering wheel. If this is positive, it is always stable. Vehicle steering will be very stable. If the caster is positive, steering effort will increase. That is another kind of a thing with increasing positive caster. So what it means is, suppose this is the caster angle you have. Suppose you increase the caster angle, increase the caster angle. As you go on increasing the caster angle, the effort required for steering will increase. What it means? Imagine you are trying to steer the wheel like this. So there will be a side force which will be acting at this point. If I go on increasing this is okay. These are the point at which the side force can act. Imagine this is the side force. So I have to say in the plane of the ground, the side force is acting. And this distance you take, as I go on increasing the caster angle, this distance increases. Then the magnitude of the couple increases. So to overcome this couple, well, steering couple, like this force, steering force will increase. That is what we say, steering effort increases. Of course, as the caster angle increases, means in a positive direction, stability improves, but effort for steering will increase. That's what we must understand. That means to say, simply for improving the stability, we should not go on increasing the caster angle. There is a limit for that. So that's what it means. If the caster is positive, the steering effort will increase with increasing positive caster. Greater road shocks will be felt by the driver when driving over rough road surfaces because larger couple. So couple means that's moment I'm talking about. Vehicles with as high as 11 degrees of positive caster usually use a steering dampener to control possible semi at high speeds and to dampen the snap back of the spindle after a turn. Okay, if caster is negative, then there is some kind of very less effort is required, but it will become unstable. We can say it will wander. So if the vehicle is heavily loaded in the rear, you see here like this, it is stretches, and this fellow which was here, so it will start stretching. So then what is going to happen, right? This fellow will move like this because this will pull this relative to this, so then it will become like this. That's the problem. Okay, caster increases as shown. So that's there. If a vehicle is heavily loaded in the rear, caster increases as shown. As it rotates, then what is going to happen? You can see that as it stretches, so pulls the upper end of the suspension, then like this. That's how it changes. Okay, all right. So any load transfer will definitely change the caster angle. That's what I want to say. Caster angle changes. So you must have observed when you are driving a vehicle, right? So you take a turn and would be steering like this, but at the end of the turn, the moment you release the effort, automatically it will turn to come back to its original position. That's what we call it as steering returnability, alignment moment, steering returnability. What I'm returning here is, after taking a turn, at the end of the turn, when the steering wheel is released, the wheels must return automatically to the straight running position and must remain stable in that position. Let us see how it happens. Let me define a tire slip angle. Let me define tire slip angle. Alpha. What it means is this. This is the tire. This is the intended direction of rolling. It should roll in this direction. In this direction, it should roll. But actually, it will be rolling in this direction. So when you take a turn, what happens is, because of the tire, the carcass will assume this position. So the resultant of that will be this. So that's how a tire slip angle gets created. Please observe this video. You will appreciate this. You observe here how exactly the tire changes its shape when it is rolling, right? That's how it happens. Want one again channel play? You can observe that. Okay. So that's how you get the slip angle. Now let us see. So you have positive caster, right? Positive caster. To make you understand better, let me go to this figure. You see here, imagine this cart. So let me draw a line like this. Like this. This meets the ground here. It meets the ground here. Let me draw a line like this. Is that okay? Right. Please focus on this kind of a thing. You just steering axis you produce here also. They meet at the ground. Wherever they meet, you just draw a line. That's what exactly I have done. I have drawn the line here. Okay. So see from the top, when I produce the steering axis to the ground, each steering axis, wherever they meet at the ground, those ground points, I join them, I'll get this line. Okay. So this is the vehicle, it is taking a right turn, let us say, and the centrifugal force will be acting outwards. To counter the centrifugal force at each one of the wheel, you can find lateral or grip forces. These are the grip forces. Okay, grip force at outwards will be higher than the grip force here. As I said earlier, like in the previous, here I have shown you. So tire slip angle is created because it's taking a turn. This what happens, the carcass will shear like this and a slip angle gets created. So now the question is the side force. Look here. So let me draw all the side force plot from here to here. So you will get a triangular distribution like this. Then the resultant force is this. Okay, there is a shear and the resultant shear force is here. Correct. And this is the line passing through, the imaginary line passing through that steering axis point, steering axis where they meet the ground. This force, you call it as this, that is the side force, resultant side force. About this point, you create a moment. So when you are using your steering, you are applying an effort in the clockwise direction so that this vehicle takes a turn. So whatever happens at the wheel side, it will create a counterclockwise moment. That is what I call it as aligning moment. Right? Aligning moment. So that is why when you take a turn, at the end of the turn, this aligning moment will bring the steering wheel back to its original position. Okay? So this all happens because of the positive caster. You decide. Positive caster. Okay, now the question is, due to some reasons, you have, if at all your caster is negative, it becomes negative caster. When you are taking a turn, because of the load transfer, the caster becomes negative. You can see that the aligning moment is supporting this. So it makes the vehicle a oversteered vehicle. Oversteered vehicle. It makes the vehicle unstable. But effort required will reduce. So negative caster, effort required to steer the vehicle will become very, very less. However, it makes this system oversteered or it makes the vehicle unstable. That's why we don't prefer negative caster. That's why I said it will wander, the vehicle wander. Negative caster, no. So that's why I said caster could cause pull. If unequal, the vehicle will pull towards the side with least positive caster. Caster is not adjustable on many vehicles. If caster is adjustable, the change is made by moving either the lower or the upper pivot forward or backward by means of one of the following methods, using shims or eccentric caps, slots. This is basically suspension adjustment. We'll understand what suspension is in the next video. Okay, I hope you understood the caster angle. Now, there's another term that we use, turning radius. You're taking a turn. You see this, the turn is like this. This I call it as inner side, this I call it as outer side. The inner turn angle is larger than the outer one. So, this is what exactly I have written. Whenever vehicle takes a turn, the inside wheel has to turn a sharper angle than the outside wheel because the inside wheel has a shorter distance to travel. Okay, now I can, later I will explain this Ackermann steering system. So this is what you can call it as steering angle, inner steering angle, outer steering angle. So I can just use the triangle equation. So L is the wheelbase length and T is the track width. Of course, this will become R plus T by 2. This will become R minus T by 2. This is L. So you know this is going to be delta I. This is going to be delta naught. Delta naught, delta I can write. I'll get this. So if I know these angles, I know the vehicle wheelbase length, no doubt at all. Track width also is known, then I can find the turning radius. Okay. Setback. This is what I call it as setback. This is positive setback, this is negative setback. What it means is the angle formed by a line drawn perpendicular to the front axle. This line is drawn perpendicular to the front axle. This line is drawn perpendicular to the front axle. Okay. So here you see the definition. Setback is defined where one of the front wheels is sitting back relative to the wheel on the other side. Here in the positive, this is back, this is front. In the negative, this is back and this is front. That's what happens. Okay, that is how we define positive setback and negative setback. The causes of rear setback include frame chassis or rear cracked misalignment due to a collision. If the vehicle has setback condition, it may pull to the opposite side of the setback. So now another thing is, you can also observe whether the wheelbase length on both sides is same or not. Okay. So this gives an idea whether they are wheelbase, whether this shaft is parallel to this shaft or not. Again, thrust angle. So this is the thrust line. Thrust angle is the angle of the rear wheels as determined by the total rear toe. If I draw a line perpendicular to this, this line is a thrust line. So thrust angle is an imaginary line drawn perpendicular to the rear axle center line. It compares the direction that the rear axle is aimed with the central line. It also confirms if the rear axle is parallel to its front axle and that the wheelbase on both sides of the vehicle is the same or not. Okay, it is necessary that this should happen. It's required. Tracking is the term used to describe the fact that the rear wheels should track directly behind the front wheels. Ride height. You see here, this is ride height. Okay, ride height. This is ride height. Ride height we call it. But how do we define? Ride height is the amount of space between the base of an automobile tire and the underside of the chassis. Base and the minimum underside. Or more properly, to the shortest distance between a flat level surface and any part of a vehicle other than those parts designed to contact the ground. So what is going to happen is, when you brake the vehicle, load gets transferred so that this may dive and this side may come down. When you are accelerating the vehicle, this is what is going to happen. Load will get transferred, this side will come down. When you are taking a turn, lateral rotors, this is how it keeps on varying. So dynamically, this ride height will not always remain the same. But what is the effect of that? So if these things keep changing, wheel alignment angles also change. That is a problem. So design your suspension system so that such changes should be well within limits. Gnosis law, negative caster is added, correct now? If this is going down, then which was like this may become like this or like this, negative. So negative caster effect is what? Steering. It makes the thing wander, or it makes the vehicle unstable. Steering, whole thing becomes unstable. Steering becomes unstable. Gnosis law, negative caster is added to the front wheels. Changes in the front or rear ride height can alter front camber alignment. Camber can change. So, and rear camber on vehicles with independent rear suspension, especially when there is a difference in ride height side to side. So, because of the load transfers, it can be longitudinal or it can be lateral. So ride height change. Ride height changes means so many of the alignment angle changes. So that may make the vehicle unstable. So we need to be careful about that. That's what the importance of ride height. It is better, we need to design our suspension system in such a way as far as possible the changes in this ride height should be well within limits so that it should not affect too much about the wheel alignment angles. This is what exactly we would like to convey. Okay, so all these things we have discussed. Now various angles, wheel alignment angles so far I have discussed. That is, we started with the camber angle, then toe, then steering axis inclination, then I explained about scrub radius, then we spoke about included angle, then we discussed caster angle. All these angles are very, very important, and for every design, manufacturer specifies values. It is necessary we should maintain, and as we run the vehicle, because of many reasons, these alignment angles may change. That may result in uneven wearing of tire, or even steering effort change may increase. All these things will happen. So here I have just given some, from one of the manuals I have taken, what are the front wheel alignment angles range and the rear wheel alignment angles. The camber values I have given. And if there is a difference, side to side differential, that also I have given. Toe, those values I have given. Caster values, reference angle, are all models you can see here is given. Similarly, these values are also given for the rear wheels. Specific to your car, manufacturer would specify this, so you can always note those values. And if you feel that steering is not all right, or tire wear is not very even, then you can visit the mechanic and see whether and get wheel alignment angles checked. And if they are not there, they will align those angles and deliver the vehicle. Okay, so you can watch many videos on YouTube. and understand the YouTube, and you can really understand all these wheel alignment angles. Okay, so in this session now you just completed all the wheel alignment angles related discussion. In the next session we will talk about the suspension geometry. We'll talk about suspension, not about suspension geometry. The suspension we'll talk about. Now, thank you very much.